Hey guys, I'm so excited. Okay, so Tammy Anderson Ward here with the Energy Healing Conference says, hey, what's up? I'm so excited to have you all join me today because I have a special guest speaker. Her name is Angee Wentz, and I recently met her at a business mastermind that I started going to. And I just instantly hit it off with her. I sat down next to her and was like, I know we're going to be friends, like right away. And it wasn't just because like her vibe, it was just like how friendly she was and easy to connect with. And I just know now that I know what her expertise is, I know that many of you will also feel the same way. She's just awesome. But I want to go ahead and read her bio and then bring her on. We're going to be doing a 1 hour beginner's class for bookkeeping today. And then next week, we're going to be doing a part 2. And you can come back to this and watch it at any time. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. It's also going to be on our Facebook page, our Facebook group. It's on multiple platforms all at once so that you guys have easy access to it. Feel free to bookmark this or share the link to yourself. You can go ahead and text it to a friend. It's really easy to share. If you have any questions, be sure to hit me up. I can help you with that for sure. But I want to go ahead and read her bio to start us out. She is somebody who has been in the accounting and bookkeeping world since 2016. She started out working as a virtual assistant for a new website management company where she was an integral part in building processes and workflows. Naturally gravitating towards the financial tasks, she worked and trained closely with the company's CPA to categorize transactions and successfully deliver comprehensive reports that brought clarity and more insight to the owners. Knowing that, I think, is really important for those of you that are watching right now. Seeing the value that she could bring by focusing on the bookkeeping tasks, she was encouraged to launch her own business, offering professional monthly bookkeeping services in 2018. Since Breadwinner Bookkeeping was created, she has offered support and peace of mind to business owners of many industries, including acupuncture, landscaping, and digital marketing. So, those of you who have friends in other business industries, be sure to kind of be thinking about who else this could benefit as well, okay? The company's focus is to take stress out of the financials and let the business owner focus on what they are most passionate about. So if you've been like, I don't even know how to do this, be sure to listen closely, okay? And I know quite a few people I'm going to go be tagging as well. Okay, now when not hard at work, Angee also enjoys consuming business and professional business development podcasts and books, taking care of sometimes sweet talking her to her plant babies. I love that. And exploring with her family of 3 creative kids, a supportive partner, and their 2 charming dogs. I also got to know her a little bit more and found out that she also does morning spiritual practices. So I'm way excited for you guys to get to know her as well. Please feel free to respond, be interactive if you're live. Even if you're on the replay later, feel free to ask questions too. All right. Without further ado, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so excited. That was quite a bio to like go through, but I wanted to just say how grateful I am for people like you because the strategy, the understanding of processes and flow, things like that can be really helpful to people like me. You know what I mean? So, I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Seriously, when I first saw you come in and you said, I was like, I pulled up a chair right next to me. I'm like, you are sitting by me. I like you already. We hadn't even said a word to each other. So,
No.
yeah, instant connection. I was like, we're going to be fine. We're going to be good friends.
I'm so excited. Actually, like literally the best thing
Yeah.
ever. When you walk into a room of people that you're a little bit intimidated by, you don't really know anybody else in the room, and then somebody pulls a chair out for you. So thank you so
Aw.
much.
Yeah, of course.
So I know you've prepared a class, and tell us what
Yeah.
your class is all about today so people who are watching can kind of get a sense of it.
So I'm really passionate about helping entrepreneurs feel empowered to talk about money because it is so scary. So a lot of entrepreneurs, when they come to me, they're even kind of like, what does a bookkeeper do? What's different about you and my accountant? Like, can I just use my accountant? And they just have so many questions and they get nervous to share their books with in finances with people because it's scary how you spend your money. You're like, oh, am I going to be judged? Am I,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I'm really passionate about it. So I'm just going to start from the basics, get people comfortable with kind of just talking about it and hearing some of the jargon. But I'll keep it simple because, I've been in the bookkeeping world. So jargon's normal to me. It's like a different language though, right? It takes a long time to learn it.
Yeah,
So it's just going to
absolutely.
be covering some basics. So yeah.
I love it. Well, and everybody's like upbringing was a little bit different. You know what I mean? So, like, not everybody had a family where the parents sat down all the kids and went through basic bookkeeping. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like, I
yeah.
was raised by a single mom, and we were lucky a lot of the time just by the skin of our teeth to have food. You know what I mean? So, I genuinely am just so grateful and very appreciative. I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to you for the next 5-10 minutes to just dive in. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll take breaks for questions and things like that, just so I'm not overwhelming anybody as well. So, all right. So, these are just, like I said, just a couple of top bookkeeping success tips. These are some things just to get you comfortable in the bookkeeping world and thinking about your finances. As I'm going through any of these, definitely write down your questions. These are good questions to reach out to a bookkeeper or an accountant, even for. So, definitely write down those questions. You don't want to be like, oh, that's a good idea. I should ask that or that, and then not have it ready when you need it. So, who am I? I am Angee Wentz, as Tammy introduced me as. I am the owner of Breadwinner Bookkeeping. We recently rebranded. We have a new passion project to serve parentpreneurs, is what I call them. It's not just mompreneurs, but also those fathers that are managing a lot as well and trying to build their empire. I've been in business for over 6 years. I've been doing bookkeeping for over 8, actually closer to 10. But I wanted to keep it conservative, bookkeeper in me. I am a charter member of the Digital Bookkeeper Association. That means that I had a lot of input into that program and representing digital bookkeepers because we haven't been represented necessarily in the digital platform and how we can offer our virtual services. And so I was a charter member and was able to give a lot of feedback and in setting that program and association up. I have been invited to speak on 2 panels at 2 bookkeeping conferences that I have been to. One of them I was invited ahead of time and then went and spoke on the panel about what I knew. And then the next one I went and they threw me up there. So I love the little spontaneity and connecting with people and helping support them when they're speaking. So I am a mom to 3 kids, 2 dogs, and now 2 cats. Forgot to put that in my bio. We just got 2 cats for my youngest daughter, and wife to 1. So I thought that that'd be kind of funny to say because I'm sure a lot of people are coming from Utah. So just had to put a little polygamy joke in there. So just a funny little meme. So you love accounting. You must be so fun outside the office. I think a lot of times people and entrepreneurs, they have this idea of what accounting or talking to bookkeepers looks like. I am not the typical bookkeeper. I like to look at myself as like a holistic bookkeeper. I really like to ask some key questions with my clients or potential clients or even consults to get them thinking about their goals and their money mind blocks and how they can push through that. So I tackle more than just your bookkeeping. I'm really an ally and basically like a day-to-day friend to help your business thrive. So I wanted to start with the most important thing, which is the money mindset. We've talked about this a little bit. I'm sure there's things that you grew up with, like Tammy even said, that your parents don't talk to you about finances very often. A lot of times it's like, we don't have money for that. Or what do you think that money grows on trees? We've heard so many different things that kind of get stuck in our head, right? And so then we have this idea of what money is and how we can talk about it. And it's kind of a hush hush topic. So the first important thing is that I want to encourage you to shift from scarcity to abundance. I want you to view money as a tool to help you expand your impact and the beautiful things that you do. A lot of health entrepreneurs are on here. You are healing and helping and have the biggest hearts to help people, right? And your patients. And I just want to help you think to, if I can talk about money and feel abundant in money, how many more people can I affect? How many more people can I help? The next piece that I'd like you to do and think about is price with confidence. Don't undervalue your services. You are valuable. What you're called to do, why you're doing this is so important. Don't underprice your services. You can make a bigger reach when you price yourself accordingly. I have personally undervalued my services, especially when you're first starting out. And it starts showing up in other ways that you're not pricing right? When you start feeling resentful, when you start feeling like exhausted and burnt out and I'm giving so much, they don't value me, they don't understand. It typically comes back to that you're not pricing with confidence, or undervaluing your own services. The next thing is to challenge your limiting beliefs. So this goes back to your childhood again, what you've heard about money. So thoughts like, I'm not good with money, I can't handle that much money, or what would I do if I had, 50K in my bank right this second? Oh, I haven't handled that much before. All of those things kind of limit your beliefs and what you think is possible. And it ties into so many other things that you do. So yeah, just kind of think about those. Maybe even I'd like to challenge you guys to write down 5 on your own time, really meditate and think about that and what's limiting you and what you were told growing up, because you can find your money blocks and where you're stuck at a certain level, where you can move your business forward just by even acknowledging those and releasing those. Surround yourself by support. This is so important. This piece of it is like crucial. So I was so lucky when I first started bookkeeping. I went to a bookkeeping conference and met some of my lifelong friends. Now we talk all the time. We support each other.
Cool.
We dive into each other's brains and like pick them apart and like, what's going on here? What's going on there? And they're just so supportive. It's funny. You can talk about money with them when you get comfortable, or with a group of people that understands your struggles. So look for people in your industry that you can bounce ideas off of and get used to talking about it, because those people are obviously in the arena. They are fighting the same battles you are. And it makes it so much more comfortable to know that you're supported. Be around people that say things like, wow, what are you working on now? Or that is really cool. Think bigger, that kind of stuff. So that's really important. I've had really cool experiences like that. Tammy being one of those expanders.
Aw, you're so sweet. Well, I actually had a book suggestion for somebody who's maybe thinking, how do I even do all of this with this money mindset? Have you ever heard of the book called You Are a Badass with Money? Have you ever heard of that with Jen?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I have.
I love that
I
book.
literally just ordered that, Tammy.
Oh my gosh, seriously. I love it. I can't remember if it's chapter 5 or chapter 6, but I just kept putting it on repeat, like over and over and over. I think I probably listened to it like 50 times. The first time I got that one, because there's one chapter in that book. It is not like a book that you listen to from start to finish. It is like, so like, what's the word? It has sustenance to it. You know what I mean? It's almost like a workbook. You know what I mean?
And you listen to a chapter and have to like let it decompress.
Like I listen to a chapter at a time and give myself a couple days in between, and then like do the activities that she's talking about in the middle. But all of these things that you're talking about go hand in hand with that, and you will love that book. It is amazing.
Oh, good. That is so funny. I literally just ordered it, so I'm like, yay, because I love learning about.
We didn't even talk about that. I just love that. It's just very intuitive. This is a good opportunity for us to share really quickly. For those of the people who are on who maybe aren't going to be able to watch the entire class, would you mind sharing what you have as a bonus or an opportunity for them really quick? I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the comments here, and then I'll put the ticker up across the bottom, but go ahead and share what that is.
Yeah. So I offer free consultations. You get a 1 hour with me to dive into basically anything money that you want. But typically towards business. So we can talk about your money mind blocks. We can talk about your current bookkeeping processes. Like that's why I wanted to put that in the bio, that I used to be a VA and I was integral to setting up their systems, that I was actually able to walk away and those systems were running without me. So I love talking about how to set people up for, getting into there. And we'll get into that later as well. But you can dive into anything with me for a 1 hour for free.
That is awesome. Thank you. That's so generous of you. You way lead with value and generosity. I appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Okay, cool. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt your presentation. Keep going, girl. This is awesome.
Absolutely interrupt. Throw any books or resources out there. I think it's so important to be continually educating yourself and expanding, so I love that. Interrupt.
Okay.
So the next one is detach emotion from finances. Okay. Health entrepreneurs, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. It's so hard because you lead from such a heart-centered practice, right? Like you wouldn't be doing what you're doing if you didn't lead with your heart. And so detach emotion from it. Don't be embarrassed about it. It is what it is. We make decisions oftentimes from the heart. I get that. But when you're analyzing it or looking at it, you've got to step away and use um, other chakras. You've got to use your brain on this and not attach the emotion to it so much because it'll stop you from even looking at it. It is a good practice to look at your numbers often, and I'll go into that a little bit later as well, but you've got to detach the emotion so you can think about it logically and strategically. And I can definitely help with that. The next one is practice talking about money often. I've already mentioned this a little bit, so I won't go too long on this. But get used to it. Talk to your partners, your friends. Get used to talking to, bookkeepers, other business owners. It's so important for us to keep having this open dialogue. My favorite thing to think about this is like when you show up in a certain way, you give permission to do the same. So when you talk about money, you're giving other people that window to be able to do the same and create ripples. The next thing is know your numbers. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. They are a story. So you'd expect me to be very left brain, very analytical. I definitely am, but I am a very creative person. So our numbers, they tell us stories. And this is actually why I love what I do, is because I love to marry the two. I'd like to tell you the number, not the number of your stories. That too. You can tell me the number of your stories. But they tell you a story, so don't be scared. What are they doing? Are people more depressed in the winter? Probably. So what are your numbers getting higher? Are you getting more business around then? Start paying attention to those trends. And don't be scared to look at them, because if you don't have a baseline, you don't know where you can improve. The next thing is reframe expenses as investments. So this one is actually really hard for me, so I had to put this in here. Recently, I rebranded and I spent all of the savings that I had in my business to rebrand. And I kept all during my morning meditations and stuff, I kept being called to do this and do this. And I needed to rebrand in this way. It was going to expand me in a way that I needed. And it was just funny because I was like, this is so expensive. I was like terrified. But the thing is it's actually an investment. Rebranding, coming from a place of, a heart-centered business, connecting with those that might resonate with my story and why I do what I do. I had to reframe that for sure. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's an investment. This will pay off in dividends. I'm setting myself up. I'm building a good foundation. And so
That's
that
so
was
beautiful.
kind of
I really like that. In fact, I have a poster that I have and it says expenses on it. And I'm going to literally redo the entire poster today and take off the word expenses and put investments, because truly that's
absolutely
what it is. You know what I mean? Um,
exactly.
and I just want to share, like, when you're saying practice talking about money often and
Mhm.
knowing your numbers, I recently switched to CRM, a
Mhm.
customer relationship management. It's a software that I use.
Yeah.
And I had my tech person actually change it so my entire dashboard puts all my numbers right up in front. And it's so cool how everything's like customizable, but that is like
Yeah.
so important because you can see it. You know it at a glance really fast and easy. It's not something you have to go find.
Yeah.
It's just right there. So I highly recommend that as well. That's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last one, practice gratitude and celebration. I
Woo!
mean, every little win, you guys, business owners, you're doing it. You're making money. You're doing it. You got to celebrate the little wins. That is so hard for me. I literally just posted the other day. I'm like, oh, I can share my big win, I guess. Oh, just even share big wins is so hard for me. So definitely celebrate the little ones.
Share it here. We want to hear what's your big win.
Well, I lost 50 pounds recently. So
My gosh, I love
I've
that.
been on a health journey and it has been so hard to find what works for me. My hormones are out of whack. Practitioners, you guys are like, oh my gosh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Perimenopausal, all the fun things, 3 kids later. And I'm like, I found something that works and I'm losing weight and I'm getting stronger.
Yay, that is so cool. Well, congratulations. I celebrate that with you.
Oh, thank you. See, surround yourself with support.
Big
Thanks,
deal.
Tammy.
You're welcome.
All right, tip number 1, get a business bank account. So we're going to dive into some more practical tips now. This helps you keep your finances, your records clean. You need to have these separated. for more reasons than just organizing them. If you have an LLC and you're co-mingling, which means that you're mixing your business and personal, your LLC is basically thrown out the window. So definitely get a separate bank account for your businesses. And then that way you can see every single thing that's hitting your bank account. You're not missing anything. You're not missing deductions. So I'll let you guys go ahead and look at these, and I can give you guys these slides later as well if you email me. But definitely set it up and separate those. That is my number one most crucial thing that I tell business owners. Get a separate business bank account.
That's awesome. Well, if somebody does want the slides and they want to email you, what's your email? And I'll put that in the comments for them.
Oh, perfect. It's Angee, so Angee at breadwinnerbookkeeping.com. And I'll have that on the last slide too, just in case you guys didn't write it down or anything.
Perfect.
All right, about bookkeepers. I'm going to try and make this fast. What is a bookkeeper? So bookkeepers help ensure that financial data is organized and accurate, making it easier for businesses to file your taxes, make informed decisions. So it's not just about preparing for taxes. It's helping you look at the health of your business on a regular basis to make good informed decisions if you're trying to hire somebody or something like that. And comply with regulations. We surround ourselves and keep up with our education. We don't have a required education like a CPA or accountant does. However, we work in it so much that we stay compliant. We know what you need to be tracking and what you don't. And so having us there is helpful. What's the difference between a bookkeeper and an accountant? We look at your day-to-day finances. We are looking through with a fine-tooth comb, organizing everything. I don't know the last time you went to your accountant, but they don't go line by line on everything. They just take the information you give them and then kind of summarize it. So accountants they file your taxes. They can help with tax planning. And then they can also, but they have like a bird's eye view. And so they don't necessarily see the day-to-day transactions. So do you need both? Not necessarily. Your budget depends. This depends highly on your budget and your time, the time that you have. So we'll get into that. So here is a little myth. Bookkeeping is just data entry. The truth is data entry is a part of it, but bookkeeping also involves tracking your expenses, reconciling accounts, and giving you financial reports that you understand to help your business grow and to help you watch those trends. So tip number 2, your pricing. We got into this a little bit earlier. Think of how much you need or want to be paid. I think a lot of times we focus so much on, I can only charge this. People will only pay me this. They will only do this. Think about what you want and start from the end first with the end in mind, work backwards. Look for competitors' prices. Obviously, you don't want to be like, I'm at $1,000 if it typically, the industry standard is closer to like 200, 250, right? But don't necessarily base your price off that, but take it into consideration. And then tracking your income. Who needs to? So I just had a conversation with a business owner, who didn't know that she needed to be tracking her expenses and her income because she hadn't filed for an actual LLC. She was just a sole prop. She only had a little bit of income. Everybody who makes income, whether it's a side hustle, you're a contractor, an LLC, or your corporation or anything like that, you need to be tracking your income and your expenses. Every single person does. So even if you don't have like a business license or anything like that, you need to be tracking it. The government expects you to. Another myth, bookkeeping is only for large businesses. No. Every business, no matter the size, needs to have accurate record keeping, even solopreneurs and small businesses. Why it's important. You want to make sure that you're not leaving anything out on your tax return, especially if you get audited and they find some money that you haven't claimed on your tax returns. If you get audited and they find that, you can be not only penalized for not filing it in the first place, but you can also get fees for late filing and late fees on the money you owe. So lots of fees there. Don't do it. Definitely put all your income on your tax return or on your record keeping. And you can watch your growth. You compare it to previous periods. Like I said earlier, when are your peak seasons? When is there steadiness? Is there, after I went and spoke at this podcast or was a guest here, did that help increase merit? You can look at those trends and kind of tailor your sales and marketing as well. Or see when software expenses got a little crazy. You can qualify for personal or business loans. If you don't have 2 years of your P&L and your balance sheet, when you go to get a personal loan and you are an entrepreneur and you're not a W-2 or working for someone else, they require 2 years of accurate record keeping to approve you for that loan. And if you leave out some of that income, it's not going to show that you're making enough to support the loan you're trying to get. And then obviously the audit. Let's keep the IRS off your back. So owner's draw. To avoid commingling, you want to pay yourself regularly. I think you should pay yourself first. It's a mentality thing. You're working so hard to build your business. You need to reward yourself. You need to pay yourself first. I think you should pay yourself as often as you're getting paid. So if you're getting little bits here and there and they trickle in, I suggest doing weekly or biweekly. If you are, you get paid for your services once a month, and like for bookkeeping, my clients pay me on a monthly basis. It all hits on the first day, and then we do their bookkeeping. So I would pay myself monthly. And then choose a percentage of your income to pay yourself. This depends very much on your industry. If you want to chat more about that with me personally, feel free to hop on that free consultation. Tammy, are there any questions? Do you have any questions? Let's pause for a little minute, see if anything comes through.
I haven't seen any yet in the comments, but anybody who's watching, please feel free. That's your opportunity. This is your cue to go ahead and put down any questions that you have. And there are no stupid questions, so please feel free to ask whatever you want. Okay, so I do have a question. Let's say that somebody has been already doing their business for some time and they've never had a bookkeeper. What does that process look like? I figure if we ask this, maybe it would take a little bit of the intimidation out of it for them.
So they've never done their bookkeeping before and they want a bookkeeper to help them go back to
they
previous.
just never had a bookkeeper. Maybe they've been trying to do it on their own.
Yeah, so I would go through that with you. We have an onboarding process that we go through. We get you set up in certain softwares to get you running smoothly moving forward. We help you with your receipt management. We get that all organized into one thing so you don't have to have piles or envelopes all over the house, your car, all that stuff. And we help you streamline it, get it into some software that you can keep, which we'll go over a little bit later as well. So we would go into what happens typically is people come to me and they say that I've used business expenses on my personal account. What I'll have you do is you'll export your spreadsheet and you'll go through and show me which ones are business and stuff so that you can qualify for those deductions without sharing any of your personal information with me. And so then we can transfer that to an accounting software at that point. But from that moment on, once you start working with a bookkeeper, you should not be using your personal account anymore at all. So
this is awesome. Well, so I was just going to say, we were at lunch one day and there were a bunch of business owners and we were having lunch and you were like, looking around, you're like, oh my gosh, nobody's catching their receipt. Like nobody's doing anything. So let's just give a couple of basic tips, like for people who are business owners who maybe haven't been tracking their investments, right? Their expenses at this point. What are some basic tips that they can go ahead and do to do that?
So I actually have a whole list coming up right after this. So do you want me to answer now or do you want to?
Well, that's a nice segue.
Yeah.
We'll just dive right into that. That's
We're just flowing here, Tammy. I like it.
I love it. Yeah, I know, right? Like I have a book suggestion. You're like, I just want that. And then that's perfect.
That was a good segue for sure.
Just go right in.
Okay, this is a quick tip I'm going to throw out there. HIPAA compliance. Accounting software is not HIPAA compliant. Do not get your client information in here. Anything that can be identified to a client, you literally want to have them in your accounting software, like client one, client two, like some numeric system from either your EMR, your EHR system or something like that. This is specific to healthcare practitioners and things like that. But you don't want identifying information in there because they are not HIPAA compliant. So just a quick tip. And then is there money in the bank? If there's money in the bank, you're profitable. The truth is no. Bank balances don't show the whole picture. You don't know, there's those yearly expenses that creep up on you and things like that. It's not, oh, I have money in the bank, I'm profitable. So expenses, here we go. So why it's important. You want to make sure you're capturing all your deductions. You want to make sure there's no duplicates and cancel your forgotten subscriptions. I actually do an audit with my clients about once a year where we go through and see what they no longer need. And I remind them to cancel it if I keep seeing it pop up, because I do not want you spending money you do not need to be spending money on. We want that as owner's draw. You want to be taking that for yourself. So compliance, and then obviously for, business growth and profitability. Now, here's the types of deductions that you want to be looking out for. This is the segue that Tammy gave us, and I'll go more into receipts too, if we still have time. But the types of deductions are your home office deductions. So if you have a home office or something, or you're practicing, private practice or telehealth or something like that, or like me, I work from home, I get to take a part of my utilities that we pay in the house, a portion of it, a percentage. Any utilities like your telephone, internet, water, repairs on the home, all that kind of stuff. So then for, health communities, you can write off your medical supplies and equipment, your business meals up to 50%. That one's a little bit of a caveat. I don't like when people do that too much. Don't you overuse that. And then travel expenses, obviously going to and from, that includes mileage. So I'll get into that in a minute. And then marketing and advertising, totally. Professional services, me. So business consultants, bookkeepers are tax deductible, lawyers are tax deductible, and your accountant are tax deductible, or like business coaches and stuff like that. Malpractice and liability insurance is tax deductible. And then employee wages and benefits, continuing education. So Tammy, you said you just bought a book. I hope you put that on your business account, because that is considered continuing education. Any way that you are expanding your knowledge to help your client base or your patient base is tax deductible. So any kind of certifications, things like that, any classes formally that you take, those are tax deductible. Clinic rent and utilities, business loans and interest. That's a big one that a lot of business owners miss, is their fees and their interest on their loans or their credit cards. That is tax deductible. So you want to be breaking that out.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do have a question that
Yeah.
may be applicable for other people as well. So I have a home office here.
Mhm.
I work out of quite a bit. I would say probably 50% of the time, maybe even a little bit more than that. But
Mhm.
I also have the wellness studio where I go, and that's where I do like professional services like my breath work and foot zoning, you know what I mean? And Reiki and things like that. Am I okay to still write off my home office expenses
So
and that one?
that one's a little bit trickier, and you're definitely going to want to talk to your accountant. The reason that you want to talk to your accountant about that is because your specific situation is different.
Yeah.
But if you do have both, I tend to think that the home office deductions no longer apply, but do not take my word on that. That is something that I would discuss with the tax professional too. And I do talk to my clients' tax professionals about that kind of stuff as well.
Okay, that's good to know, because literally we just finished this beautiful room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm loving it. But I don't always want to go to my wellness studio. I don't even have internet there. You know what I mean?
Well, and
So
there's businesses with multiple locations as well, and those are tax deductible. So definitely talk to your tax professional about that.
perfect.
But I tend to think, like you said, it depends on the usage. And I
Mhm.
think you might be over the percentage that it might be deductible. So, but talk to your tax professional for sure.
This is really
It's
good.
it's kind of gray area.
Yeah, this is really good, because I feel like there's quite a few people who do something similar to what I do that would
Mhm.
be really applicable for. So
Yeah.
this is kind of a really good analogy or example of where the bookkeeping versus accountant is going to come into play, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can be very helpful with a lot of things, but maybe not every single thing. But my gosh, there's a ton of stuff here that I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh yeah. And like the last time I went through and looked at my forgotten subscriptions, I literally was able to cancel like $400 worth a month.
Yes.
And that is a lot. I mean,
Oh,
I can think of some other things to do with $400 a month.
absolutely. Pay yourself.
All right. Well, these are so good. Keep going. I'm loving it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. That's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. So I don't know if you guys are Schitt's Creek fan, but I am for sure. I love this little scene um, where Mr. Rose and David are talking about what's tax deductible and what's not. But he's basically saying, a write-off is a business expense used to reduce your taxable income. You can't just buy things for yourself and write them off. So there's a lot of personal stuff that business owners try to write off that you can't. For example, your clothes, unless it has a logo on it, it can't be written off. Getting your nails done, hair done, you can't do that. So I just thought this is a good little segue. And I love how how David goes. he's like, uh, he's like, well, who writes it off? He's like, I don't know, the tax write off people. I feel like that's how a lot of us feel. So All right, your mileage. This is going to be really quick. These are some of the things that qualify for your mileage that you want to track. My accountant always bugs me about this because I'm terrible at tracking it. And he's like, it's a business deduction. You are going to pick up your mail. It is separate from your home location. Track your mileage so you can get that deduction. If you're traveling to go to networking events, go to clients, traveling between work locations, like if you have 2 different offices, that kind of thing, track your mileage. This is what is necessary that you need to track to give to your accountant. The date of the trip, the starting point and destination, the purpose of the trip, the total miles driven, and then odometer readings. This just helps keep it more accurate. That part's optional as long as you write the total miles driven, but I have seen people's mileage be not classified as a deduction because they didn't have the odometer reading, even though the IRS says it's optional. So it really kind of depends on your auditor, unfortunately. So just do it, just to keep yourself safe. And then commuting between your home and your primary place of business, though, does not qualify. So there's always these little caveats that the IRS likes to throw in there. And then a really quick tip. This is a really easy to use app, Mile IQ. So you literally start it, drive, stop it, and it does it for you. It helps you track it easily. Tip number 4, keep separate budgets. So when you are not doing your personal budget on a regular basis or reviewing it on a regular basis and doing your business budget, you can put a lot of pressure. I have personally done this. This is why I say this. I was not tracking my business expense, or not my business, my personal expenses very well. And I borrowed more from the business. And then when I went to hire, I didn't have enough money to hire. And I put myself in a real burnout cycle. So make sure you're paying attention to both. I know it's a lot of work and it can be overwhelming sometimes, but if you get in a ritual, and I'll provide a schedule here of how often to be doing these things, it won't be overwhelming. And then you can keep both sides very healthy so they're not borrowing against each other. It can get a little fluid when you have owner's draw and you're like, oh, I can just pull more from the business. Oh, there's money in the bank. I'll pull from the business. You can put yourself in quite a pickle. I have done that personally, and I have seen some clients of mine do that too. Now getting into receipts. Bank statements are not acceptable forms of proof of purchase. People think that they are, and they are not. I have come across this probably more times than I can count. And I can count pretty high. I'm a bookkeeper. But the truth is bank statements typically don't have enough information on them. I'll go into what information you actually need to have accurate burden of proof or proof of burden on the business. And I'll go into that in just a sec. But like most of it just has a lot of jargon. Yes, you can see really quick that was my health insurance or my business insurance for a while. But there's just so much jargon, and not all of that can even gets pulled in sometimes. So yeah, and then like when they said Hiscox, they typed that in how they wanted to show. And so people can put basically whatever. So if you're hiring contractors or vendors or whatever, it can be very ominous. And so they don't count. So now into receipts. Everybody's favorite topic. So this came from the IRS website. The responsibility to substantiate entries, deductions, and statements made on your tax returns is known as the burden of proof. So burden of proof on your business. You must be able to prove certain elements of expenses to deduct them. You have to be able to prove what you bought, when you bought it, that kind of thing. You need to keep receipts. According to the IRS, they say you need to keep them for 3 years, and in some cases up to 7. So I have some tips on how to keep receipts from fading after 7 years. But yeah, or up to 7 years. What needs to be on your receipt? So number 1, you need the vendor business name. So right here, you can tell this is my receipt. That's my name. This is the business name. Then we need the date of purchase. So I paid for this on December 3rd. This is my password manager to keep everybody's information secure. Number 3, what was bought? So I have the standard subscription for 1 user. That's detailed enough. It says what it is. And then the total amount right here. So everything after taxes, everything, they need the total amount, not just subtotals and all that. So it needs to show the total. I get a lot of receipts from clients that like will snip off the bottom, and I don't get that. So it becomes invalid. And then proof it was paid. So right here, you can see amount paid. Even though it says invoice at the top, it says thanks for payment, amount paid. And then it says with American Express ending in, and I blurred that out because that's my personal information. But It shows how it was paid and that it was. So those are important, those 5 things. You need to keep physical copies of all receipts. That is another myth. The truth is you can have digital copies. You can take pictures of your receipts and store them in the cloud. And that's what I do for my clients because they fade. And so I highly, highly recommend everybody putting all of the receipts in a digital system. And we will cover that as well. The best software is the one that you will use. I love this one so much, or the best process, you can even replace that word, is the one that you'll use. So my favorite software is HubDoc. I use this in my business. I use this for all of my clients. It's $12 a month and it is so easy to use. There's an app that you can get on your phone. It literally limits anything you can do so you're not getting distracted. I know that you can download QuickBooks as well and on your phone and take pictures of your receipts. So that's what I was telling Tammy when we were out to eat. I was like, no one's taking pictures and no one's printing their receipts. What are they doing? Because I literally pulled out HubDoc and I took a picture and then I threw away my receipt. It's so easy. QuickBooks can distract you from looking at other finances and being like, wait, what was I doing? And then go to take your picture and whatever. HubDoc, you can only take pictures. That is it. And then it goes up to the software that you can look up on your desktop and it automatically files for it. I mean, I could go on and on if you want to talk more about that and the benefits of using HubDoc. I can definitely do that on our free consultation or our free one-to-one, excuse me. The QuickBooks Online, yeah, like I said, they have an app too that's really nice. It's another digital storage thing. You can do Google Drive. The reason I don't like Google Drive is because you have to organize it. I don't want to take the time to organize it. I want to automate it, and HubDoc does that. And it can put it into your Google Drive and automate that as well. So another bonus to HubDoc. But Google Drive, it's a way to do it, and you can have it on your phone too if it makes you comfortable and you like working in there. Your phone, you could take pictures on your phone. However, I cross that out because it's not shareable as easy. I mean, can you imagine highlighting all of your receipts and then texting them to your bookkeeper? That could be a really big mess. I don't like that method, but if it's the method you'll use, then do it. Do we want to pause for questions? Did you see anything coming in, Tammy? Thought it would be a good time to take a break.
That was excellent. I've never heard of that one before. And if you take the actual picture of your receipt on your phone, now it's all jumbled in with all of your regular pictures,
Yep.
And I have literally thousands and thousands of pictures on my phone, as I'm sure many other people do. So thank you for that tip. That was fantastic. For those of you who are watching right now, do you guys happen to have any other questions? She's taking this little intermission right now for an opportunity for you to be able to do that. Also, I'm going to give you a chance while people are thinking about that. I want to give you a chance to talk about this full hour that we have going across the bottom. Will you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I've had people use it where we literally dive into what their current bookkeeping process is right now. And I give them suggestions on making it easier or more automated, compare different situations. Because like I said, the best system is the one you're going to use, or the best software is the one you'll actually use. And so we dive into all of that. I help them. I'm coming up with a new thing. If you guys want to email me, I can put you on some kind of newsletter or something to let you guys know when it's available. But I'm going to be doing a new project, a new offering where basically I help clients. I get them cheaper software because accountants get options in QuickBooks that aren't available to the public. And so I can get it for cheaper. And it's just another kind of simple package that it's not even offered to the public. And so it has HubDoc. And then basically I just help you streamline all of your systems. And then after that, you have me on call, basically where you can meet with me up to 3 to 4 times a year to see if you're doing things right, or to kind of like do an audit of your books, if you will, and see what you need to do on a regular basis to make sure that you're up to par. So
doing some fine tuning in there. Well, I have a question. Why would somebody not do that? I mean, that's a good idea to be able to do that.
I mean, it really comes down to budget though, Tammy. I mean, you don't want to squeeze your budget and invest in too many things at the same time as well. I've done that. I'm sure other entrepreneurs can relate. So comes down to budget. So this one is going to be my most affordable because you're still doing it yourself, but you have my support.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I just love that. Thank you so much for coming up with these really clever ideas. Yes. All right. Well, no other questions have come in, so go ahead and continue on. This is beautiful.
Thank you. So who said accounting is stressful? I'm 35 and I feel great. I know so many business owners who feel like this. They're just like, everything's fine, everything's great, but that you're juggling too many things or, spinning too many plates and one of them falls. You're just like, I can't do it all. So accounting is stressful. Most of you didn't go into business to micromanage your finances. However, I did because I love it. I'm the anomaly that actually went into business to do finances and bookkeeping. But so where to track your finances, you can do this in Google Sheets, Excel. I don't recommend that because you're manually entering it. I love easy processes, efficiencies, things like that to take less off of your plate and especially when you're doing something you don't want to be doing, make it as easy as possible. Wave is a free accounting software. I believe it connects to your bank, your business bank account. Do not attach your personal, please. But you can attach your business bank and then it's bringing in all of those transactions, all the income, everything. You just need to go in and categorize it. So I love that one. FreshBooks is another cheaper option for software that connects to your bank feed for sure. Xero is an accounting software that's easier for business owners to use, but it has more robust reporting if you get to that point and you do enjoy looking at your numbers more often and things like that. Xero is a really good option for business owners. The last one I like to talk about is QuickBooks Online. The reason that's the last one, and that's the one that I use, but it was built by accountants for accountants. It can be very overwhelming for business owners who aren't understanding that software even the accounting equation. So just really quick, I'm not trying to go over anybody's head here, but just to give you an example, Wave and FreshBooks are called a single entry software, which means that it goes in and then it shows up on your report in one thing. Xero and QuickBooks Online, that's a double entry system. So if you enter something here, it shows up somewhere else as well. And if you're not looking at those and balancing those and reconciling those, it can be overwhelming. Xero automates a lot of that. So that's why I like to suggest that for small business owners. QuickBooks Online, though, they are just such an old software that they've kind of patched things onto and patched. And so you really have to be familiar with the software or have good support to work on that or to utilize that system. Tip number 5, create a plan. So wherever you are putting your task management system, put it in your planner, your Google Calendar, wherever, make a regular system and block out time, please, to do certain accounting tasks and to be looking at your numbers and getting familiar with them. Like Tammy said even earlier, it was like she can see it all the time. And so then she can see when things are off and it just becomes something she's used to seeing all the time. And then you can quickly identify things that throw up a red flag, right? But if you're not looking at it enough or making time to look at it enough, it can really take you for a loop. And all of a sudden you're spending tons more money than you need to be. Bookkeeping can wait until tax season. This is a huge myth. Waiting into the last minute often leads to stress, mistakes, and missed deductions. Oh, I see this all the time, and it makes my heart so sad. Consistent bookkeeping keeps your finances organized year round. That's what bookkeepers do. We go in every month. I go in weekly for my clients and make sure that everything's connected, everything's coming in, everything's, we're categorizing everything, we're catching everything, we're separating out your fees, even though it only came in on one line. We're separating everything out. So stay organized year round instead of just waiting, because that is so stressful. I actually had a client call this morning, or a potential client call this morning, and he was so stressed. I felt really bad. And he has a month to file, by the way, April 15th for sole props and LLCs. So the recommended schedule that I would like to give you, and this is why if you email me, I can give you the slides because there's a lot of helpful information. I don't want you guys to have to keep writing it all down, but daily, I highly suggest checking your business bank account every single day for anything that might have come through or anything like that. And take pictures of your receipts and organize them every single day. So whatever system you use, if you use HubDoc, it organizes it for you. Beautiful, you're done. You just take a picture, done. Otherwise, if you're using Google Drive or something like that, you're going to want to organize it, put it in the folder that it needs to go into so that it can make sense come tax time. Weekly, you should pay yourself. You choose how often, like I mentioned earlier, you can do this monthly, biweekly, or whatever, but it does help at the beginning to pay yourself weekly if you can. So it doesn't become overwhelming or And it's just good to prioritize yourself that way. It's a good little boost of all the hard work you've done. Categorize your income every week. Anything that's come in, any new clients you've had, make sure to organize that and categorize it as sales and stuff like that. Follow up on your unpaid invoices. I do this weekly for my clients if they have these certain packages where I follow up on their unpaid invoices. I do not do collections, but I do follow up. People think about how many times an emails come in, you're like, oh, I need to act on that. And then you just totally forget about it because you like saw it when you're in the car or you're on the way to the bus, you pick up your kids from the bus stop like me. I always forget stuff when I always check on my phone and then forget. So follow up on your unpaid invoices. You'll get those invoices. And a beautiful cadence that I have found over my years is to do it once a week. If you do more than that, you're hounding them. But once a week is a really good reminder. The first time someone goes past due on an invoice, I wait 2 weeks. But typically you get a better response if you do it weekly. And then I do 2 weeks and then I do weekly after that. So, but you want to be checking in on your unpaid invoices at least every week. Categorize your expenses every week. You're going to forget what some of it is. Like I said, some of it's kind of ominous explanations or things like that. So you want to be categorizing those at least weekly. Pay your bills and your employees and contractors. Obviously that cadence is up to you, but definitely be checking on your bills and who you need to pay that week. Now, monthly, save your bank and credit card statements every month. So every time a new credit card statement comes out, you need to be going in and literally downloading the PDF. You need to keep this copy. I have had this happen to me and a couple of my clients a few times where I closed the bank account because I'm no longer using it. And then I had no access to get my bank statements and I am required to have them. So I had to call the bank and it was just a huge hassle. And then they had to like send them to me. And then there was one that, that was a really big, depending on the bank, it could be a real big pain in the butt. So do yourself a favor, go in every month, set a reminder just to pull them and save them in Google Drive or wherever makes sense for you. Record your utilities paid via your personal account. So it applies to those home office deductions. What I go in and do is I have a spreadsheet and I put in, I have all the things. This is how much I spend on, this is water, this is electricity, this is, internet and whatever. I have a list of all my utilities, my phone, and then I put how much I paid each month in it. So I go back and look at everything I've paid because I'm paying those out of a personal account. Then at the end of the year, when you go to your accountant, you can give them a spreadsheet or at least a documentation of all the utilities that you've paid for the year from your personal account. And then you get a percentage of that as a deduction. Because my home office is, you can maximize or deduct up to I think it's 300 square feet, but for your home office. So however big your home office is compared to the rest of your house, you get that percentage as a deduction for your home office. Compare your reports to prior months to watch for trends and cash flow. So definitely every month, look at how much you made, look at how much your expenses were, and compare it to the prior. I cannot talk all of a sudden to that prior period, to that prior month, or to that prior quarter, and just kind of get a good routine. What? Go ahead.
I was just saying, I think you're doing great. It's a lot of information in a small packed little, nugget of time. So I think you are doing fantastic.
Thank you.
So, and really good tips. I would love to, we're going to have to end here because I got to go take my kid to school. But I wanted to ask you, we're going to be doing another kind of deep dive overview next week. Do you want to tell us what we're going to be covering in that one?
Yes, definitely. So in the next deep dive that we're going to do, I wanted to go over financial statements and how to look at some of your numbers. This will be more applicable to people who have accounting software and are looking at what does this mean? So like your profit and loss, go over your balance sheet and just what it means and where those numbers are coming from in your accounting software. And then, that's the bulk of what I'm going to be looking at to help you guys understand what it's doing.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I feel like tons of things have really stood out to me. This has been very helpful. I feel like I've gotten so much good information for myself. I've literally texted all of my kids, my husband. I'm like, hey, you guys should watch this. My daughter's going to be an apprentice soon for becoming a tattoo artist. And you should be taking pictures of all your receipts and all of those kind of things.
Yes.
Every little thing, you know what I mean? There's so many little expenses I think that people just totally forget,
Mm-hmm.
So I would love also to just ask if people are watching this right now, please feel free to take a moment to send Angee a quick email with any other questions that maybe didn't get covered this time that we can also start next week with as well. So that'll be really good. And then I guess that's like covering up your other screen here, but it's
That's
Angee
okay.
at breadwinnerbookkeeping.com. And then I also want to reiterate this opportunity that you are giving everyone to be able to go in with their information. I mean, a whole hour, I think you could probably do quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It typically doesn't take the whole hour,
Yeah.
but I like to just chit chat with you and get to know you and know your goals anyways. So yeah, we can fill that hour.
Yeah, that's amazing. So the link is in the comments, or you can also go ahead and email her directly if you don't see that in the comments. And again, it's just Angee at breadwinnerbookkeeping.com. And I know you have like maybe one or two left. If you want to go ahead and wrap it up today, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just going to talk about when to outsource to a bookkeeper. I will just leave this here. So, and then obviously, if you email me at that email that Tammy provided, you can get these slides and kind of look at it too. But just to touch really quick, when your time is limited and you have too many things that you're spinning too many plates and things like that, that's a good time to start looking at a bookkeeper. When your books are behind or disorganized, or if you're waiting till tax time and you keep saying, I'm going to make time, I'm going to do better next year, I'm going to do better next year, I'm going to be on top of it this year, but then it comes to tax time and it's stressful. I'm sure some of you might be feeling that right now. It's time to start looking for a bookkeeper. Many bookkeepers have different packages for your price range, your budget, and how much they can help you. So definitely start thinking about that. Here's a few questions to ask a bookkeeper to make sure that you're finding the right fit. I'll go ahead and just leave this here for you to kind of look through for just a moment. But you want to make sure that they are covering the services that you need. Not every bookkeeper does the same thing. I am not a full service bookkeeper at this time. So I do not run payroll. I do have a very good payroll specialist that I can refer people to, but that is just something I don't run at the moment. And so you want to make sure that you're finding somebody who fits the services that you need. So if you need help paying bills, if you need help invoicing your clients, those are good questions to ask what services they offer. And then doing it yourself doesn't always save you money. That's pretty much the gist of this. I am in the accounting world. I know tons of accountants. I know tons of bookkeepers. We keep each other up to date, and so we can reduce those errors and find the things that you might not know to look for. These are just some of our services. We have a do-it-yourself package that I talked about earlier, where you're doing it yourself, but you have my guidance. You have me set up the system for you, and you maintain it. And then you have me to talk to, or my team to work with and give you guidance on making sure that those are up to date. So it's as stress-free and efficient as possible. And then we also just take it off of your plate, which is our monthly bookkeeping services. And that varies a lot on what you need and that kind of thing. So, but we can talk about that.
Your picture there. That's so
yes. So this is our contact page. So yeah, this is just, if you wanted to screenshot even just this piece and reach out in any way, you can follow us on social media. We're constantly posting tips and helpful deadlines. So yeah.
That was phenomenal. Thank you guys for being on. And thank you so much, Angee, for your time today. I'm going to also go ahead and email this out to all my business owners on my preferred business list, because I feel like a lot of the tips that were shared here can be really helpful. If you're watching this right now live and you're like, oh, I know somebody who could totally use this, please feel free to tag them in the comments below, or just go ahead and grab the video and share it to them as well.
Yeah. Awesome. I appreciate you so much, Tammy. Thank you so much.
Same. Thank you for being here, and fantastic, fantastic tips. I can't wait for next time. Tell me when we're meeting again.
Next Wednesday, was it?
Yep. Next Wednesday we'll be on, and we're doing the same time. So 11 to noon. Yep. Please feel free to let her or myself know any questions that you would like to have covered next time that didn't get covered today. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.